For the Toronto Star, I'm Edward Keenan, and this matters. It's December, and the holiday season is here. Every year around this time, my kids bring me reports from the schoolyard of conspiracy theories, whispers about a certain jolly bearded man. Seems there are doubts about his very existence, expressed knowingly by wild-eyed people convinced of their own smarts. They're pretty sure the official story can't be the real story. These are Santa Claus truthers, North Pole Gate theorists. They suggest that Christmas morning is an inside job, and they're going to blow the lid, or, the jaunty red hat, off the whole story.
And I want you all to know that we are fighting the fake news. It's fake, phony, fake.
Nothing new there. Conspiracy theories of all kinds have a long tradition. John F. Kennedy's assassination, the moon landing, flat earthers, 9/11, Barack Obama's birthplace, QAnon, and the election denial insurrectionists in the United States. Always there is this certainty that a small, brave group of clear-sighted outsiders have managed to assemble the real facts from a series of apparent inconsistencies in the official explanation. There's always this smug, self-righteous confidence from those willing to question the story that everyone else seems to want you to believe. This trutherism isn't even new when it comes to Santa Claus, of course. Rumors questioning the veracity of his story have circulated at least since Virginia O'Hanlon wrote her letter to the editor of the New York Sun in 1897, seeking clarification. That editor famously responded,
Virginia, Santa Claus exists as certainly as love and generosity and devotion exist. 1,000 years from now, he will still make glad the heart of childhood. Oh yes, Virginia, there is a Santa Claus.
But even that did not put the doubts to rest. They persist to this day. Now, I admit that as a journalist, I admire the skeptics' devotion to pursuing facts. And who can help but raise their eyebrows when considering mystifying accounts of flying reindeer, Arctic workshops staffed entirely with elves, and a single day's circumnavigation of the globe, stopping at every single house along the way. Santa Claus's is a story that seemingly defies rational explanation. The conventional story is, it is magic. Yet, the conspiracy theorist's explanation also seems to stagger belief in its scale and in its scope. When you're confronted with a conspiracy theory, the first question to ask is always, how many people would need to be in on this? And keep it all a secret. In the case of Santa, we'd appear to be talking about a top-secret, global, generation-spanning plot carried out by billions of people. And this thing seems to go all the way to the top, encompassing not just parents, not just teachers, shopping mall managers, but so many others. It would have to include Canada Post.
Canadian kids write to Santa, and Santa writes back. It's a big job delivering all those letters, so Canada Post has hired some special letter carriers to help out.
It would have to include NORAD, the North American Aerospace Defense Command.
Joining us this morning to answer all of your burning questions is General Glenn Van Herk.
Well, NORAD's a binational command with the Canadians in the defense of North America. We've been at this NORAD Track Center for 67 years. We do aerospace warning, so if it's an aircraft or emanates from space, we'll track that. If it is a threat to North America, we'll do aerospace control, and we also provide maritime warning 365 days a year. And each Christmas Eve, we have a special mission that's tracking Santa Claus.
And it would have to include all kinds of other public and private international institutions and leaders.
Before we go tonight, we want to look back at the hard work year after year of a guy who's got a big job ahead of him this week, making Christmas magic for so many kids around the world.
What are you going to have from Santa?
I have a book.
You want a book?
Yeah.
What else do you want
Cheer,
from Santa Claus?
appreciate our blessings, and honor traditions, like opening presents, decorating the Christmas tree, or setting aside a couple of cookies for Santa.
By the way, you guys have to be in bed by 9 o'clock, you know, and asleep between 9 and 12, or he doesn't show up.
They would abandon the North Pole, abandon Santa Claus. Well, on this side of the house, we're going to stand up not only for my daughters, but for your family as well, Mr. Speaker, for all those young Canadians in the spirit of Christmas waiting for Santa Claus to come again.
Mr. and Mrs. Claus greeted thousands of revelers lining downtown streets for Toronto's Santa Claus Parade.
All of this effort and coordination and the cloak and dagger enterprise it entails. And for what purpose? So that they can give gifts and spread joy? To make a bunch of people happy and keep it all a secret? Why would they do that? Just to avoid taking credit? We got to take a break, but we'll be right back. Now, as explanations go, does that sound more or less magical to you than a jolly old man in a sleigh? For anyone trying to nail down the facts, that question might not make anything much clearer. Now, as I've gotten older and wider, and I hope somewhat wiser, the factual assertions about how Santa Claus is supposed to do what he is said to have done, they don't become easier for me to explain. But I think I've come to understand that the important truth about the story of Santa's life and his work is not found in grasping the mechanical details, but in being inspired by his example. He is an illustration and an embodiment of a spirit of joyful giving we might all want to believe continues to exist in the world. That's a spirit the Toronto Star has tried to embrace for well over 100 years with its Toronto Star Santa Claus Fund charity. Begun by our legendary publisher Joseph Atkinson in 1906, it takes donations from readers and turns them into gifts for children across the city who might not otherwise receive much or anything under the tree. My 12-year-old daughter and I helped deliver some of those gifts in Scarborough this month, driving from house to house. It's fair to say we felt the spirit of Santa Claus while we were doing that, every bit as much, or maybe even more, than we do looking in our own stockings on Christmas morning. Though we'd all maybe hope to see it more at all times of the year, this is part of something that we often call the Christmas spirit. Almost all of our traditional Christmas stories revolve around this concept of giving. The religious holiday of Christmas is based on the story of the birth of a child who was sent into the world as a gift from its creator. A child who grew up to spread the message, love one another, and to ultimately sacrifice his own life to save those who would remember him and follow his example. Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol is the story of how Scrooge learns that his own salvation from misery lies in becoming generous and kind to those around him and joining their celebrations rather than scorning them.
To all of us, everywhere, a Merry Christmas to us all, my dears.
God bless us, everyone.
Even Dr. Seuss's The Grinch saw his heart grow 3 sizes when he realized people were not celebrating the loot that they would haul in, but the joy that they could give to each other.
The true meaning of Christmas came through, and the Grinch found the strength of 10 Grinches, plus 2.
It may take some of us a while to fully understand this, but this is the truth about Santa too. His real magical gift is not in what he puts under the tree for us, but in what he teaches us we can do for each other and with each other when we decide that making each other happy is our goal. And that remains true whether you believe the official stories or the conspiracy theories or something else or nothing at all. The older I get, the less skeptical I am about that truth about Santa. His greatest gift for those who want to receive it is an opportunity to participate in the spirit of the season by embracing the joy that comes from giving to one another, to make the world a happier place, to pass that spirit of kindness and generosity on to others, to see something magical in the world because we helped to create it. Santa's gifts are something you experience more than something you can explain. Is his story hard to believe? In a way it is. But it's a story that, if you let it, can continue to make glad the heart of childhood and adulthood too. Still and always. Believe it or not. Happy holidays to you from all of us at This Matters and the Toronto Star.